We have the newest crime report for the city of McAllen. Our chief for McAllen, Victor Rodriguez, joining us. Chief, I want to check with you just real quick before we get into some of the interesting numbers on the annual crime report for the city. As a result of this past weekend and all the talk about sleeper cells and advisories coming in from the federal government to state government to local government, can you report any type of coordination or communication with the feds when it comes to concerns related to the sleeper cells? Be on the lookout at the border, be on the lookout in cities, things like that.
Sergio, absolutely. We at McAllen PD, in my office particularly, we maintain very close communication with state and federal agencies. We've been tracking activity associated with the goings on in the world today. Our job every day changes, and the focus sometimes can change from day to day. So as we go into this week, there are new things that we must be tracking. We must be on top of. We must be knowledgeable of, and clearly that has to do with the goings on in the Middle East at this point in time. Now, the reason I say the continuous adjustments that we've got to make and the continuous changes that we've got to stay abreast of. For example, if we left a week behind in the last week, in the last 10 days or so, the priority narrative and concerns had to do with immigration and all those things that were going on in the country with regard to protests and things like that. That hasn't gone away by any means, but all of a sudden we've got a whole new set of activity, a whole new degree of activity in the world that we must be cognizant of, and that we must be monitoring, and that we must be maintaining close information links with the state and federal agencies so that we can make and keep our communities safe. So the short answer to your question is absolutely. We absolutely maintain very close communication, and that happened over the weekend, for example. We've been communicating over the weekend just to make sure that we stay abreast of things. So the short answer is yes.
Is that a powwow, a briefing that happens daily or every couple of days, or you get the latest information from the feds and on things that they're monitoring at the border, at the airports, and maybe sleeper cells in big cities, things like that, or what?
And that can vary. And it does vary given what's going on in the world. There are times that we have basically classified briefings that are national in scope, and some that are more regional and local. But that varies on the degree of activity and how. And the relationship of those activities to, let's say, our communities in South Texas, and particularly in my case, the city of McAllen.
Chief Victor Rodriguez is our police chief for McAllen, and as a lead-in to some of the numbers, maybe you can share with me here on the annual crime report for the city of McAllen. Let me ask you about the border. We have border security from the federal government now, and an enforcement of immigration law, and incursions, illegal crossings that have gone through the floor compared to what it was during the Biden administration. So is that translating into what you see in McAllen, in the streets, from anything from car thefts to other crime, petty crime? As a result of law enforcement at the border, has crime gone lower in McAllen in some of the categories?
It's a very big subject area, but I will try to describe all of it in a short sort of way here as it relates to the immigration issue. Immigration very often is clearly linked to border activities, and thereby, by extension, they attempt to link criminal activity in the border area with that particular subject area, immigration. Yes, it is very much a different story today as it was, let's say, a few months ago, and as it was clearly in the previous administration. The numbers have gone through the floor. Absolutely astonishing, the numbers that we're seeing now in terms of the crossings. But regardless of that, whether the numbers were the extreme high numbers that we saw in one time, months in last administration and previous years, as it relates to what we're seeing right now, regardless of that, those activities do not and have not affected necessarily crime and crime activity in the border communities, at least not in McAllen. And one of the things that I've often explained to many people that have come down here, whether it be congressional groups or elected officials of all kinds, people from all over the world, is that the people that are crossing in these areas, particularly let's say McAllen, for example, which was for a period of ground zero for all this activity, they're simply crossing here. They're not landing here and staying here, and that makes that makes a world of difference in understanding that particular issue. They're not the folks and the numbers and the immigrants that have been the subject of this are crossing at these points here, and their destinations are the bigger cities in the United States. We can tell you where they want to go. We can tell you where they go. They go to Houston, to Dallas, Chicago, Boston, New York, Washington, D.C., Atlanta. The list goes on of cities that we know based on our interactions with them of where they are going. So the short answer to your question, immigration is vastly different today as it was a few months ago. Absolutely true. But neither one of those extremes have been one to affect crime and criminal activity as it relates to the data that we're talking about here in the McAllen area.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but the
It does.
numbers surely were here,
Yeah.
and surely they were crossing here. But this was simply a crossing point as opposed to a destination.
No, I find myself explaining that to, I get calls up northeast, other northeast radio stations, Midwest stations, say, "What's it like down there?" So take a look at the data. We're fine. You're the ones that are getting screwed up there. Everybody going to Houston, Dallas, Chicago, Philadelphia, Boston. You're the ones getting the gangs up there because they want the big markets. They want the big money. And no, I understand. So that way, the numbers were low to begin with, and they should be lower, maybe a little lower in some of the interesting categories related to theft. Victor Rodriguez is our chief of police in the city of McAllen. I'm going to ask you because I know, especially in my audience, people are thinking about this. City of McAllen does work in conjunction with the federal government, state government, but also federal government when it comes to detainers, retaining certain individuals. When they say, "Hey, hold them, we got to get that individual to kick him out." We do that in McAllen, right?
We, clearly we've taken the position that immigration is a federal responsibility. However, in our daily activities, when we come across someone in a lawful piece of action that we're conducting, if we come across someone that self-identifies as being in the country illegally, then we will call Border Patrol in, and they will come and address the matter from that point forward. So that hasn't changed in our practice ever. Mm-hmm. It is the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that we are lawfully conducting those kinds of activities when we conduct them that way, and we intend to stay within the confines of the Supreme Court's opinion about that local activity with regard to immigration.
Let's look at some of the data in about 3-4 minutes, so you can throw that at me real quick. The annual crime report from McAllen, what stands out?
So I think one of the in the context of the discussion we're having today, I think it's important to note this. The immigration question, whether it be whether it just simply immigration, whether it be the drug trafficking, whether it be the drug wars, and all those things that have gone in a very high profile way for let's say the last 15 years here in this area. They've drawn very adverse attention to the border communities throughout that 15 years or so now, and that's the latest iteration of that particular issue. But let me say this: in that period of time, when people thought that the sky was falling along the border, the reality was actually different. The reality was completely different to that. We've been reducing crime now. And to give you an idea, for example, in the last 20 years, we've had 17 years where we've had crime reductions in McAllen. During that period of time, people from all over the world thought the sky was falling along the border, and the reverse was actually the truth. But now that we've got almost 20 years behind us of crime decreases, we're beginning to tout that, and we're beginning to feel really proud about that. And to give you an idea, for example, at the end of 2024, our crime in McAllen was the lowest in the last 37 years. We're approaching 38 years of crime statistics where where we can say that 38 years ago, crime was higher in McAllen than it was at the end of 2024. That's an astounding accomplishment. When people thought crime was going through the roof, along the border, particularly, I'm addressing McAllen, and I track criminal activity not only in McAllen but along the border areas and Texas' largest cities. When people thought crime was going through the roof along these border communities, McAllen being one of them, the reverse was actually true. We have been reducing crime now for, like I said, 17 of the last 20 years. We have had crime reductions in McAllen. We are now we're entering right now the 2025 statistical period, and we're trending downward one more time. So, I am sure that one day we're going to bottom out. Our community keeps growing, and so long as our population grows, the propensity for criminal activity is going to increase with that, just because of just sheer numbers, and that's the operation of numbers, really. But we are, I think, at the end of 2025, going to be able to show one more reduction.
Okay, crime reduction, as you said, and I was noting here, in a population that continues to expand rapidly because the valley economy is growing so quickly. It's rather impressive to see. So in the background, are you preparing more cops? You got another class that's studying right now. You're hiring more people. What's going on behind the scenes?
So we've got 2 academies in progress right now. We're getting ready to graduate one of them on the 11th of July. We tested for the next class on June the 6th. We had a very good turnout for that particular exam. So we're looking to fill anywhere from 24 to 30 positions with the next class. We are hopefully at that point in time we'll be almost at 100% strength if we can get that class going here pretty soon. That's going to be the class that took the exam on the 6th of June. So if we can get that going here, we'll have three academies in progress, and maybe as many as 40 or 50 people in an academy setting at one time.
Are those folks providing or replacing individuals who are retiring, or is that an expansion of the McAllen police force?
It's a combination of both. We have a number of retirees. In this particular cycle, we are replacing a number of people that have gone to, let's say, DPS. The DPS is hiring again once again. That's a topic that very often I'm asked in a public setting about. Do we worry about the fact that we lose to state and federal agencies? Let me say this: we have lost police men and women to every federal agency you can think of, certainly state agencies, and certainly local agencies here as well. But DPS being the state agency, we've lost the most to. And often I'm asked whether or not we worry about the fact that we're losing our personnel. No, that's a statement about our selection process. The fact that people want our policemen and women in the numbers that they do, I think reflects on the fact that we hire very well at McAllen. We are proud of the fact. I'd rather have that problem, that we're losing people to state and federal agencies. I'd rather have that problem than the problem of people that want to go to state and federal agencies and they are not wanted by them. So we continue. It's a lot of hard work for us to continue to hire and replace, but we don't shy away from that.
Yeah, well, you got to admit, Chief, I mean, the police uniforms from McAllen, they're pretty cool, and so are the cars. But I mean, those black SUVs and those DPS uniforms and the cowboy hats, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, you know what? I had the pleasure of working the protest last week with a bunch of troopers along my side and a bunch of McAllen PD officers along the other side. So it was a good multi-agency effort, and we're proud. We're proud of the fact that other agencies want our men and women, our policemen and women, and that just reflects on our hiring processes.
Yes, sir. Continued success. Thank you, Chief. Be safe, you and the crew out there. Thank you much. Our McAllen Police Chief, Victor Rodriguez.